Ever feel like you're constantly running like crazy, just head down, focused on some goal way off in the future?
Yeah.
What if the real key to success isn't about planning out every detail?
Hmm.
What if it was more about just really nailing the present moment?
Interesting.
Well, that's what we're going to be looking at today.
Oh, cool.
The unique way Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang thinks, and the fact that he actually doesn't even wear a watch.
It's a pretty different way to think, especially for someone leading a huge tech company.
Right.
We usually think success in tech is all about planning years ahead,
Exactly.
but it seems like Huang has a totally different philosophy.
Yeah, and today's deep dive is all based on this recent article about him from the Times of India.
Okay.
And he actually talked about not wearing a watch in an Instagram video.
Huh.
He said that the present moment matters most.
That's a simple statement,
Huh.
but it kind of goes against everything we think we know, right?
Totally.
And that's why we're here to figure out why Huang chooses to live in the present like that, and how that mindset might have actually helped NVIDIA become such a huge force in AI.
So let's get into this whole present focus idea.
Okay.
The article says that Huang really believes that if you do your best right now in this moment, it automatically sets you up for success in the future.
Interesting.
You don't need to have some super rigid long-term plan.
And he's not just talking the talk. This is actually how NVIDIA works.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they don't have these typical 5-year plans that a lot of companies have.
Wow.
Their long-term plan is basically, what are we doing today? And then making sure they're killing it.
So they're not ignoring the future.
No, not at all.
They're conquering the present, which is a pretty radical approach.
Definitely, especially in a field that's changing as fast as AI.
I mean, think about it. New stuff is happening in AI all the time.
Yeah, if you're stuck to a rigid plan, you could actually fall behind.
Right. You'd be slow and inflexible.
Exactly.
So by focusing on doing their best right now, they're actually setting themselves up to be able to adapt to whatever the future holds.
Totally.
Yeah.
And there's this great story in the article that really shows this.
Oh, yeah.
It's about when Huang met a gardener in Kyoto, Japan.
Oh, yeah, the garden. I remember this. This is where it gets really interesting.
So Huang is visiting this amazing moss garden,
Okay.
and he's super impressed by the gardener who's taking care of these delicate plants in the crazy summer heat.
It's pretty intense.
Right. So Huang asks the gardener how he's able to do such detailed work in those conditions.
Yeah.
And the gardener just says, I have plenty of time.
Oh, man, that line is so simple, but it's like, it has so much depth.
It really does. And for Huang, that was like a light bulb moment.
Really?
Yeah, it totally solidified his belief in the power of focusing on what's right in front of you.
Mm.
The article actually quotes him saying, now is the most important time. Just commit yourself to it.
It's like he's saying, forget about deadlines and long-term goals and trying to predict the future. Just put everything you've got into what you're doing right this second.
Exactly.
Do it to the best of your ability.
And what's amazing is that this seemingly simple idea seems to be a big part of NVIDIA's success.
I mean, they are the top provider of those GPUs that are crucial for all this crazy AI stuff we're seeing.
Yeah, they power everything from self-driving cars to those algorithms that can practically write poems.
And they were even briefly worth more than Apple and Microsoft at one point.
Right.
That's insane. So was it all just luck? How did they pull that off?
Luck definitely played a part.
Yeah.
But NVIDIA, under Huang's leadership, has consistently been right there leading the way in AI.
Okay.
For instance, they developed CUDA.
What's that?
Oh, it's this platform and API for parallel computing. It's actually been super important for making those deep learning models way faster to train.
I see.
So researchers and developers can make breakthroughs like way faster than before.
So they're not just going with the flow in AI, they're actively pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Right.
And it seems like this whole present focus thing is a big part of how they're doing that.
Yeah, it's a pretty strong argument.
By being laser focused on today's challenges and pushing the limits of what they can do right now, they're basically shaping the future of AI.
Totally.
And, you know, the article also mentions Huang's own personal wealth.
Oh, yeah.
He's currently the 11th richest person in the entire world,
Wow.
with something like $130 billion.
That's insane.
And get this. His wealth has grown by almost $100 billion in just the last 5 years.
That's like what?
Roughly 500 crore rupees every single day.
Crazy.
Now, I don't know if that's directly because of his present focus philosophy, but it's definitely interesting.
It is.
So here's a question for everyone listening. What do you find more motivating? some far-off goal or the challenge you're facing at this very moment. Think about that.
It's a good question. It really makes you think about things differently, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like this whole idea that if we just really focus on the now,
Uh-huh.
the future will kind of take care of itself.
Right. It's like the opposite of how we're always told to achieve success. You're
Exactly.
supposed to set these huge goals and then work like crazy to get there.
But what if Huang's onto something?
Yeah, what if there's another way?
Right.
What if it's all about mastering what's happening right now?
And it's not about just sitting back and letting things happen.
No, definitely not.
It's about bringing that same intensity and focus to whatever you're doing at this very moment.
Right, like that gardener in Kyoto so carefully taking care of those plants.
Yeah, he wasn't just going through the motions.
He was totally present. And Huang thinks that's where the real power comes from.
Makes you think of that flow state idea.
Oh, yeah, totally.
That feeling where you're so absorbed in what you're doing that you completely lose track of time.
Yeah, athletes, artists, musicians, they all talk about that flow state.
It's like being in the zone.
Right, and they say it's crucial for doing their best work.
Exactly.
So maybe what Huang's getting at is how important it is to cultivate that flow state.
It's not just for creative stuff, but for everything.
Yeah, whether you're leading a company coding or even, yeah, taking care of a garden.
And if we take that idea even further, it makes you wonder,
About what?
could this present-focused way of thinking be important not just for individual success,
Uh-huh.
but for society as a whole?
Whoa, now that's an interesting thought.
Like, are you saying that if we were all more present, more focused on doing our best right now,
Yeah,
we could actually solve some of the world's biggest problems?
it's a pretty crazy idea, right?
Totally.
Imagine a world where people weren't constantly worrying about the future.
Or dwelling on the past.
Exactly, and instead, everyone was totally engaged in the present, giving their all to whatever they were doing.
Okay, now my mind is officially blown.
It's a lot to think about.
But let's get back to Nvidia for a second.
Okay.
The article talks about how they've really set a new standard in tech.
Yeah, they're always innovating, especially when it comes to AI.
And that's what's so impressive.
They're not just following trends. Right, they're actually shaping the future of AI.
And the way they're able to do that so well might be connected to this whole philosophy of being present.
It's like they're not letting the pressure of predicting the future hold them back.
Yeah.
They're just focused on doing what they do best right now.
Uh-huh.
And that's how they're creating the future.
Exactly. They're not trying to control it. They're creating it by what they're doing in the present.
I love that. That's going on my list of inspirational quotes.
You got it.
And seriously, this whole present focus thing has really got me thinking.
Huh.
Could this be the key, not just to being successful at work,
Mm.
but also to living a more fulfilling and meaningful life?
That's something we all struggle with, right?
Totally.
What really makes for a good life?
Mhm.
There's no easy answer.
But Huang's approach definitely gives us something to think about.
It does.
Maybe instead of always chasing some distant goal,
Yeah.
we should be asking ourselves, what can I do today to make a difference, to learn something new, to be the best version of myself?
Maybe that's the real key. Maybe real success and fulfillment aren't about reaching some specific outcome,
Right.
but about the journey itself, about showing up every day and giving it your all, no matter what's in front of you.
It's almost like the opposite of what we think, right?
I know, it's a paradox.
By not trying so hard to control what happens in the future,
Uh-huh.
we might actually end up having more influence over it.
Yeah, it's like letting go can actually give you more power.
So much of our lives are spent worrying about what might happen.
Or regretting what already did.
Totally. But maybe the secret to feeling successful and fulfilled is actually just being present right now.
Right here, right now, giving it your all.
This whole deep dive has really changed the way I think about things.
Yeah. In what way?
I'm actually starting to think maybe I should ditch my watch too.
Well, I wouldn't say you need to go that far,
Huh.
but I definitely think it's worth trying out this present focus idea.
Yeah.
See what happens when you really give your full attention and energy to what you're doing.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's work, a creative project, or even just spending time with people you care about.
I'm up for the challenge.
Good.
So to recap today, we've been talking about the unusual way Jensen Huang, the CEO of Nvidia, thinks.
Right.
He believes in focusing on being the best you can be right now instead of getting bogged down in long-term plans.
And we've seen how that mindset might have played a part in both his own success.
And Nvidia's huge achievements in AI.
We also talked about how this whole present focus idea could be important for everyone.
Yeah, not just individuals.
It could actually help us make progress as a society.
So as we wrap up, here's something to think about. What could happen if you applied this mindset to your own life, both at work and personally?
It's an interesting question.
Could it lead to breakthroughs you never expected, a stronger sense of purpose, or even just a deeper appreciation for the journey itself?
It's definitely food for thought.
Something to consider as you figure out your own path.
And until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and most importantly, stay present.